We're back in business! Okay, so a lot of you have been asking where the bucket list S13 has been. It's been sitting right here where it was the last time that you saw it. If you are new and don't know the story about this car, basically the gist of it is I got it for 500 bucks. It had been sitting in a field for 15 years, since 2005. It's completely original, and we're bringing it back. I've been filming, I have not been uploading because there's a lot of things that I don't know what I'm doing that I've been kind of trying to figure out. It's a whole new ball game for me. I've only ever done bolt-ons prior to this. If you are curious the full backstory, you can find it. I'll do like a banner thing, or you can find a link in the description to go watch that and get caught up. But a lot has changed since the last video, since the last update you got, and we need to unpack that. Alright, so basically the last thing that you saw was us throw that Grip Royal wheel on right after I kind of got a grasp on the car, because Scott from Grip Royal was super kind enough to send us out a steering wheel. But you haven't seen anything since, and a lot has changed.
This moment, but she's not sure.
The last thing that you guys knew was that this was a single cam KA automatic car, and that I bought a dual overhead cam KA and a manual transmission swap. Well, not long after I announced that, a friend presented me with the opportunity and something fell in my lap. I'm gonna show that to you now. So basically, yeah, if you don't know what this is an SR20 DET red top. This is the engine that comes in S13s in Japan. They never produced them in America. So yes, that means that this engine was actually imported into America. I got it from a friend. He bought it from a friend of his that was in the Marines. He got it from Enjuku Racing because at the time, 10 years ago, Enjuku Racing worked with a lot of importers, and I did verify that. He bought it and never actually put it in a car. He bought a bunch of parts for it and never set it inside the car. So it's basically just sat in the corner of his shop for 10 years until I got my hands on it. But he bought, I mean, it's got upgraded injectors, lightweight pulleys. It's got a Garrett GT 2871R, I believe. I would have to double check that in the specs. It came with a full catback truss exhaust, drive shaft shop, one-piece drive shaft, full Blitz intercooler kit, RS Enthalpy tuned ECU. It comes with, it's got the factory SR20 turbo. It came with like a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, everything that you see right here, I got all of this, the intercooler kit, turbos, transmission, exhaust, everything. I gave him a total of $1,800 for all of it. So yeah, the engine has been sitting without being turned over, used, or anything for 10 years. And when I got it, it wouldn't turn over. So I poured Marvel Mystery Oil in all of the cylinders, filled the cylinders up, and then I let it sit for about a week. And after a week, it kind of just went like, and like, just like broke loose all of that surface truss that was in there. And it actually, you can see right here, it spit Marvel Mystery Oil out of the spark plug holes and nailed the ceiling. It was like the funniest thing that's ever happened to me, because I've never like messed with engines like that, so I was kind of warned that it was probably gonna do that, but I wasn't expecting it to do that aggressively, so that was pretty funny. As far as the SR20 swap goes, as far as just refreshing the motor and making sure that everything is good, which I'm probably gonna get Corey Works help on, I think all I'm really lacking is a wiring harness, so I'm gonna go with a wiring specialties harness, because I hear that that's the way to go on SR20 swaps. So we're just gonna do that so we don't have to worry about it again. But basically, as soon as I bought it and made sure that the engine spun over and wasn't completely seized, I put it in this corner right here and haven't touched it since. Let me tell you why. So going back to after we pulled the single cam out of the car, got all that stuff out of the way, I decided that I want to re-undercoat the car and make sure that the underneath of it is good to go, right? As I'm sanding down the underneath of the car because I'm planning on re-undercoating it, I'm, you know, looking at the subframe and looking at the bushings, and I'm like, damn, like I really do not want to put this, you know, this hot motor or this hot engine in this car that I'm going to put, you know, a lot of effort in and do undercoating without like dropping the subframe and refurbishing the bushings and all the arms and stuff. Like that doesn't make much sense, right? So I'm like, well, we're gonna drop that stuff. And this is the first time I've ever done any of this. So I figured out, you know, how to drop the subframe, how to disassemble all the subframe. That took a hot minute because I wanted to make sure I took photos of everything and knew exactly where every bolt went and labeled bags for, you know, every bolt or every arm's bolt and so on and so forth, because I want to make sure I did this right. Sanded down all the arms, got all the bushings out. There's 2 arms, both rear lower control arms. I've still got to get the bushings out of those and paint those. So I got like all these subframes apart and painted, so I need to do bushing. So we reach out to Whiteline and Nolathane. Whiteline and Nolathane are sister Australian companies. And we got full front to rear Nolathane bushings for every arm, you know, everything. We got both front and rear Whiteline sway bars to go in the car. And you know, we're putting all this work in. I'm like, man, I don't want to put this suspension back underneath the car and have like the factory struts. Like that doesn't make any sense. So we reached out to Enjuku Racing and got a set of coilovers. And if you're doing coilovers, you might as well do all the adjustable camber arms and stuff. So we also got a whole bunch of ISR arms. I'll have to put a list of like what all we got, but we pretty much got every arm replaced except for the rear lower control arms. So all of that will be fully adjustable. And you know, at that point, why would you leave the brake stop? You might as well replace all the braking components like the brake lines and stuff. So as I'm, you know, researching all of that, I've got a set of Wilwoods on the way, but there's more about that later. I'm not completely all done there, but yeah, it's basically just been like one thing after another. Like it's been a bunch of, well, while I'm in there kind of things, and it's just kind of spiraled out of control. So yeah, the underneath will have been completely refurbished and coated in POR 15, like the ISR arms, ISR coilovers, front and rear, Whiteline sway bars, all new Nolathane bushings, you know, new axles, blah blah blah, the whole 9 yards. And then once the underneath of the car is exactly where I want it to be and I can set it on the ground, then we're gonna pull that SR out of the corner and probably take it to CoreWorks and team up with them and see what's going on with it. I don't know. I want to tackle it myself, but I've never messed with imported 4-cylinder engines before, or really torn an engine apart in general. So I really want to look over it with someone who knows what they're looking at. So that's probably what we're looking at there. But yeah, so there's you a little bit of an update. It's been an ongoing project. As you see, you know, I've been working on it, I promise, but I just haven't, like, I've been doing so much little stuff here and there because now I work for S3 full-time. Prior to this, I did not work for S3 full-time, and so I was just doing piddly stuff where I could, and I didn't think that I had enough to make something and do a video, and I just didn't feel confident in it, and I don't want to make something that I don't feel good about. And so now that we're at this point where we're kind of ready to reassemble the rear subframe, put the coilovers in, and set the suspension underneath the car, I just wanted to give you guys an update so that we can start out strong in 2020 and get this car done, man. I've been staring at this car for months. I'm itching. I'm so excited to get this car running. I've never done an engine swap or never had an imported engine. I've never had a Nissan. It's all so new to me and so exciting that it's just, it's gonna be really cool. I'm super excited. If you guys want to keep up with the Bucket List S13, you can follow me on Instagram at the Hunter Rollins, or S3 Magazine on Instagram. Subscribe, follow the playlist. I'm gonna have the Bucket List S13 playlist. You can subscribe here, follow along. Follow us on Facebook, everything. Also remember, we are a print magazine. But yeah, if it's your kind of thing, we do a print magazine where this car is actually covered in the magazine. So everything I do that's gonna be on film will also be in the magazine as well. I think subscriptions are like $5 for 2 years right now at s3mag.com. So you can go get yourself hooked up on that. But other than that, I'm gonna start trying to pump out some videos on this thing. There's still some miscellaneous stuff. I got a little list over there. Like I need ball joints. I gotta get some 5-lug hubs. I'm gonna get those from Enjuku Racing. New axle. Like there's still some miscellaneous stuff that needs to be done. But anyways, the next video will be the start of reassembling the subframe, getting all the ISR arms on. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the bushings and why I went the route that I did on that and kind of what's going on. But as I said before, I'm really excited. This is a really fun project and it's huge for me. This is a big deal. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.